Hello, I'm Joe Blakey, and I'm a lecturer in human geography at the University of Manchester. My chapter observes how there are significant parallels between the questioning of the city's centrality in urban thought and the scale debate that emerged in human geography in the early 2000s. What's more, the terms are often somewhat equated, given the common focus on the city scale. Both debates highlight how, firstly, there are concerns that these concepts, both the city and scale, impose a kind of predetermined epistemological framework that constrains our interpretation of phenomena as they actually occur on the ground. Secondly, at the same time, those defending notions of the city and scale highlight how these shared academic and real-world imaginaries remain meaningful precisely as they remain part of our discourse, forming everything from the stakes of our politics to choreographing power geometries. This chapter makes the case that a strain of aesthetic thought advanced by the French philosopher Jacques Rancière can help to overcome this impasse. Aesthetics means many things to urban scholars and to geographers, but in this chapter I draw upon Jacques Rancière's approach to aesthetics. And he suggests that we are bound together by a kind of sensory fabric that helps shape how we make sense of the world. Now, Rancière seldom uses aesthetics explicitly, terming this sensory fabric as the distribution of the sensible. The distribution of the sensible is an imperfect translation. In the original French, le partage du sensible, partage refers not only to a distribution, but also to a kind of sharing and a kind of inheritance too. So this is about ways of sense-making that we share, inherit, and that define the roles, entitlements, and places in society. He therefore refers to our shared common sense. In other words, what is or should be seen as sensible, as in that which is in accordance with wisdom. For Rancière, this shared common sense can always be transformed through acts of politics, which happen on the ground through claims of equality, where individuals claim that this common sense is wrong, and which work in turn to reconfigure the distribution of the sensible. This chapter is certainly not arguing that a general concern for the urban could be collapsed into some entity called the city or the city scale. Nor is it arguing that the city scale is inevitable or reducible to a specific set of qualities. Rather, it argues that the city scale can nonetheless serve as a kind of popular imaginary that can seem relatively foundational to everyday urban life, shaping its material and lived conditions. Building on Rancière's approach to aesthetics, what I advocate here is seeing the city scale as a powerful yet shared social imaginary. This common sense imaginary is not a portrayal of urban processes as such, nor is it inevitable, but it can wield a particular social power in shaping urban processes and who or what does or does not belong within it. And crucially, given that this city scale has no ontological basis, it can always be transformed through acts of politics. Now, those warning against scale theorizing as an ontological reification, and those concerned that the city scale is too often presumed, have often done so out of a concern that our frames of analysis foreclose our ability to consider phenomena as they actually occur in the real world. Now, leaning on an argument made by Mark Davidson and Kurt Iveson, however, the chapter ultimately argues that these concerns can be managed by focusing on those moments when common sense on scales and the city scale are met with dissensus on the ground. Doing so allows scholars to avoid presuming or reifying existing imaginaries such as the city scale by focusing on those moments when they are disrupted by another vision. Thank you.